Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Bharti and I will be the moderator for this conference. Welcome to the Brightcom Group Limited Investor Conference Call. The duration of this call will be for 45 minutes. For the duration of the presentation, all participants will be in the listen only mode. After the presentation, question and answer session will be conducted for the participants. Today, we have with us our Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Suresh Reddy, Y. Srinivas Rao, who is our Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Manohar, our Company Secretary. Before we go to the conference, I like to mention that during the conference call, certain statements in this release reflect company's future growth process and forward-looking statements, which involve number of risks and uncertainties that could cause results to differ materially than those in such forward-looking statements. The company does not undertake to update any forward-looking statement that may be made from time to time by or on behalf of the company. Now, I would like to hand over the conference to Mr. Y. Srinivasa Rao, who will now talk about the financial statements. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to speak to you all again. Now, I briefly explain the matters relating to the financial and some questions received from the investors. In Q4 of financial year 2021, revenue was 2,855.8 crores, registering a growth of 6.07% on year-on-year. EBITDA for the financial year 2021 was 886.2 crores, registering a growth of 10.37% on year-on-year. PAT for the financial year 2021 was rupees 483.01 crores, registering a growth of 9.7% on year-on-year. Revenue from digital marketing segment for the year 2021 was 2,494.84 crores, showing a growth of 11.68% on year-on-year. And the revenue from software segment was rupees 360.96 crores. This is the information on the annual basis. When we come to the quarterly results, the revenue for the quarter 4 of financial year 2021 was 699.36 crores, registering a growth of 11.32% on year-on basis compared to the corresponding quarter of the previous year. The EBITDA for the Q4 of 2021 was 245.2 crores, registering a growth of 19.16% on year-on-year basis compared to the corresponding quarter of the previous year, that is 31st March 20. Similarly, PAT for Q4 of 2021 was rupees 140 crores, registering a growth of 30.08% on year-on-year basis. When you compare the numbers from 20 March to 21 March, we have shown very good performance. Then we come to the segment-wise. The revenue from digital marketing segment for the Q4 of 2021 was 616 crores, an increase of 22.2% on a year-on-year basis. Similarly, profit before tax from digital marketing segment for Q4 of 2021 was rupees 180 crores, registering a growth of 17.87% on a year-on-year basis. Revenue from software segment for Q4 of 2021 was 82.58 crores. This is briefly the financial numbers for the Q4 of the company. We have received some questions through mail from the investors. I briefly explain all those questions. First one is accounting receivable. When we come to the accounting receivable, the receivable for the year is 1,111 crores. Out of that, digital is 937 crores and software is 182 crores. Next one is one question came about to explain the difference between the accounting receivables and other receivables. Accounts receivables are pertaining to sales and the amount receivable from the customers against the sale. On the other hand, other receivables are expenses paid in advance, like payments made to publishers, insurance premium payments made for the future period. As per the accounting standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the NCA, we classified all the expenditure as per the norm. Next one is regarding other income. In our financials, we have shown other income next to the sales. During this year, we have repaid total loans to Axis Bank. On the closure of loan, we got some interest savings. Apart from this, during this year, we got some foreign exchange gains on our foreign transactions. We are aware that we are predominantly doing export sales in foreign currency, so we gained some foreign exchange. And we received some interest on fixed deposits with the bank. All these three put together are shown as our income. Next one is regarding non-current assets and current assets. I give small clarification. As per the accounting standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we need to classify the asset as current asset when the asset or cash equivalents are expected to be realized or settled within a period of 12 months after the reporting period. Primarily, it is settled within a normal operating cycle, like media advances and advances for expenses, etc. On the other hand, if any asset or securities which are settled or cleared after a period of 12 months from the reporting period, that is 31st March, is treated as non-current assets, like advances given for creation of fixed assets or deferred tax assets receivable from the government departments. Next one is acquisition strategy. We want to have broadly acquisition strategy as follows. One, as of today, we are doing around $390 million US business. Once we cross the revenues of $450 million from the organic growth, we start acquisition of companies. In the recent years, we have spent considerable amount for product development, which are fixed in nature and going to give benefits over a period of next 4 to 5 years. We can get good amount of savings from this area. I mean, we are going to get the fruits out of the amount spent in the earlier years. Next one is, we have paid all the bank loans. Now company is debt free. There will be a good amount of savings from interest cost. Next one is, the new acquisition strategy is implemented at first in a holding company level, and the next at a later on we are going to do with the subsidiaries. As you are aware, all the subsidiary companies are 100% controlled, or ownership is held by the holding company. Later on, we start diluting some percentage at sub level also, which will help us to bring new acquisitions. All these factors will help us to accumulate sufficient cash reserve for a period of time to acquire the new company. This is briefly what is required from the finance department. Now I hand over the floor to Mr. Suresh Kumar Reddy, Chairman and the Managing Director.
Thank you, YSR Gaurav. That was a very good, long, probably one of the longest updates. I think there were quite interesting questions and nicely addressed. I think if there are further questions, we can take them later. So that aside, I'd like to welcome all the members onto the call. This is a period of celebration for the company for various reasons, including a spectacular quarterly result of, the March 10. When you compare to year on year, there are two things there. While what you might have not seen completely is the revenue increase from same quarter last year to this year was 11%. The profit increase from last year to this year is 30%. So what it goes to say is, one is the sales guys have done a great job bringing additional business, and the operations have done a phenomenal job in optimizing profit. So we are very pleased, and we would like to do things in the same way going forward. And of course, we did have a little contribution from some of the debt repayments that came through. Important thing, this year is we have paid off. We had 3 large loans from 3 Indian banks, and that was the extent of debt we had. And over a period of time, we paid out everything. The last payment was to Axis Bank. We closed that account on March 1st of this year. So we are proud to announce we are a debt-free company now. And coming to the other things, as a family, Brightcom family, we continue to grow. We have now grown further from our last call. We have the number as of end of June. That's very fascinating to me. I always check that. Is 79,725, almost 80,000. So we are getting stronger and stronger. So it says a lot about a lot of things going right and gaining a lot of confidence of the investors across the spectrum. So I'm very excited to welcome all the new members into the Brightcom family, and lovingly called BCG by a lot of us. And there's a lot of stories around that on Twitter you might have seen, and somebody pointed out to me in one of the WhatsApp messages. I found it funny, but it's good. So these are some of the things that are happening. For the newcomers, I would just like to briefly touch, though we have talked about the history of the company and what we stand for, I just briefly touch, maybe a couple of minutes, about what Brightcom Group is all about. Where did we start? How did we get to where we are today? And what are we today? So these are the points that I just like to touch briefly, and then we'll get into the business of, explaining further. We basically started this company in the US under the name USAGreetings.com. Used to be an online greeting card company. And then we have gone through various cycles and iterations and changes. And by 2006-07, we became a digital marketing backend company called Vibrant Technologies. We were about 10 million revenue from 98 to 2006-07 timeframe. Post that, we adopted a strategy of growth. I think we are at a very similar stage today, so I will talk about that later on, where we are now cleared out everything, now ready for new, fresh breath, and trying to, we have all the basics in place. Very similar time frame. And at that time, we went from a $10 million business to a $100 million business in the next 4 years. By 2010, the top line grew, of course, organic, inorganic, all together. And we also raised private equity of $100 million. And the business really grew tenfold. So just to give a sense that we have gone through a similar cycle, and we are now excited to look at something like that going forward. So that is something I wanted to bring to notice of all the new investors who are coming on board. Today, we are a $390 million business, top line. We have 14 subsidiaries. We are out of more than 22 countries, actually, with partners all put together. And, we have business coming from almost 40 countries. And another tidbit to remember is we basically are doing close to 60 to 70 billion impressions per month. And I'll talk a little bit about our business. Basically, impression is an ad serving opportunity. So that is across our network. So it has been thanks to a lot of things that have changed in the last 2 years in the world. A lot more digital, a lot more people are staying home, a lot more people are consuming media through the digital medium per se. So coming to our specialization, our bread and butter today has been and will continue to remain advertising through digital media. We have innovated, we have transformed, we have done a lot of things. We pride ourselves as an end-to-end digital marketing company whose specialty is monetizing international traffic for US publishers. So that's how we came to power, but now we have gone beyond that. On top of it, our eyes get wider when we hear about AI and ML, and we have started to work on that. Very early stage, we have some strategies, some ideas, and I'll share that as we go. So this is broadly what we are and where we came from. So with that, I would try and address some of the questions that came through. Then we can open up for further questions. A lot of questions were sent this time through email. So just a moment, I'm just opening this list. Hold on, please. Yeah. So there have been questions about growth rate. Yeah, I think people did notice that there has been a significant growth rate on the profit from last year, same quarter to this year. The question is, are we going to experience a similar growth rate? Definitely, we are looking at a similar one right now. There's no two thoughts. We have all the ducks lined up, if you may, from the operations and from the organic growth perspective. All the teams are set, all the things are in place to start taking up that kind of growth. And we are continuing to see more and more growth in the industry itself. Along with it, we are also trying to push a little further both on sales and internal efficiency. So that is number one. Next is coming to question about our famous line of credit. There's a lot of discussion on that in the past. And is it required? Are we still pursuing the line of credit approach to grow the business? What is the plan? Let me give you some context here. The idea here is we are a very cash flow, required kind of a business. We require more money to do more business continuously because there is a gap between the time we receive funds and the time we pay. We pay every month, whereas we receive funds in 3-4 months. And hence, there is a lot of money usually locked up in our receivables. So that at some point becomes a bottleneck, and we always kind of try to work through that and figure out a way. And hence, we decided to get a nice line of credit, which will free us up. Because as of today, we are leaving close to 30% on the table. That is, we don't feel good about it. We think we can do a lot more. So it's an important thing to get the line of credit in place. However, since our last round, which we were supposed to almost sign in January last year, we figured that, the terms could be a lot better had we have a company which is valued better, has a more solid growth trajectory from a value perspective. So we decided to stall that and revisit that maybe in the next quarter or two. So it is definitely on the card, except that we decided to take a step back, fix a few things where we are re-rated as a company, as a value of the business, so that we could do a lot more things to get noticed and to be in a better position to get this line of credit from better lenders as opposed to the more expensive ones, if you may. So that is the reason where we have decided to just postpone that a little bit. And then there was a question regarding privacy concerns. And that's a very hot topic right now. We've always been extremely careful on that front. And there have also been, Google and Facebook coming out with, new ways of making announcements about, cookie-based issues and such. So we have expected this as a company now for a few years. We've already been investing in improving publisher relationships and getting better data on the people visiting. So it is very important to have that connect. If you notice, whether through an automated platform or otherwise, we have been improving our ties with the publishers significantly. And we've also built better tech platforms to overcome these concerns, both from a privacy concern, both from a non-existent cookie. How we go about this. The operating team is absolutely on top of this issue. And we are starting a few initiatives and we will announce them as they come. We are always looking at improving quality of the traffic. I think we've done, like, for example, our Protector product has been fantastic on that front, where you actually give clean quality traffic to your advertisers, which actually puts rates and puts the brand of the company at a higher level. This has actually helped quite a bit. So that's broadly the idea. And, we will try and send out a note later in the next, trying to address this so that we can have a more detailed explanation. I don't want to occupy the entire call on that. I can tell you that it is solidly addressed for sure. Then coming to bonus shares, I have the company secretary online, Mr. Manohar. He can give a quick sense on the bonus shares where we stand, and I will address the EPS drop versus PE improvement issue once he's done. So Manohar, if you're on the call, kindly just give a sense on the bonus shares, please.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. So, in the outcome of the board meeting that was held on 28th of June 2021, the board has declared, considered, approved, and recommended an issue of 1:4 bonus shares. That is, 1 bonus share for every 4 equity shares held by the equity shareholders of the company. So, along with that bonus issue, we have other 3 resolutions that are going to be sent to the shareholders through postal ballot. So the postal ballot notice will be circulated early next week, so that we will have the voting results open. Voting chance open for the shareholders for a period of 30 days from then. And the other 3 resolutions that the board has approved is increasing the authorized share capital of the company to rupees 300 crore, and the alteration of memorandum of association of the company for capital clause, and issue of bonus shares, that is in the ratio of 1:4, as I mentioned, and then raising of funds. So all these resolutions will be sent to the shareholders for their approval through the postal ballot notice next week. So in the meanwhile, we will apply for the requisite approvals from the stock exchanges, and the issue of bonus shares will be closed on or before the 27th of August, as we have already mentioned in the outcome of the board meeting.
There has been a question, Manohar, as to what will be the target date. So maybe, I don't know, what is report date, I think. What is the exact technical term? You can probably just dwell on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, the record date would be somewhere between, because after we obtain the shareholders' approval, we will announce the results of the postal ballot on or before 7th of August. So after obtaining the shareholders' approval, after obtaining the shareholders' approval, we will have another board meeting wherein the board will decide the record date, which will actually decide the record date wherein it will decide the eligible criteria of the shareholder. So most probably that would be
that date and the deadline that we have, correct?
Exactly. So that would be somewhere between the second week of August.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So just if you had anything else, or should I take over?
Yeah, please take over, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Manohar. Coming to the bonus shares, everybody has been quite happy from what I can see in the market. I think it has been welcomed. We are very happy to give back to people who have believed in the stock through all the rough period that it has gone through. So that was the main intent behind that. That said, there have been some technical questions with respect to what about the EPS dropping once you do the bonus shares. And my answer to that is, look at the multiple today, right? We are looking at the PE multiple. From that perspective, if you really want to do technicals to technicals, we have improved the PE multiple by 25% without blinking. In one day, it has gone up 25% right away. So I think it is a positive development. Plus, we are able to, the market cap has gone up, so it also helps us. A lot of other things that we are thinking of, even coming back to the LOC issue I was talking about. So I think, yes, when you consider all things considered, I believe this is a positive move. And, the board also believed the same. And so we decided to go ahead with that. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, the next thing that came up was with respect to what is the strategy on standalone growth in India and what is the plan? When are we planning to do that? Our thinking is this year. We would like to do a few things to start growing the standalone business. And we have a few ideas, both from an organic perspective and an inorganic perspective. We are evaluating a few targets on this front as we speak. And we will let you know once we have any progress there. Coming to investor relations issue and some calls not being addressed and some emails not being addressed and such, yes, this has been a persistent issue. I think we'll have to address it for sure. And I know we have promised this. It has improved significantly, but we will continue to work on it to improve it further. I do understand some of the challenges with, with the pandemic and, and staff all over and things like that. Things also, we couldn't completely make it crisp. We promise you that we will get extremely crisp going forward. In terms of communicating to the investor community, I think there's a lot of improvement. But when there is inbound calls and looking for responses, sometimes, there have been issues and delays. So we will try to address that as well. We'll try to have a dedicated team to address that. So that is definitely something to work on, and I will update you on the next call. And the next question coming to Lycos DOM issue. As I mentioned in the past, this has been verbally settled, done and dusted a while ago now. We are just only thing pending is to make a payment and it will be out of our way. And I believe we are fairly close to that. And once it is done, we will inform the market. So there's nothing much to report on it. It's there and we'll get it done. So there's nothing really to be concerned on that. There's also a question about a lot of competitors trying to work on connected TV and how does Brightcom address that. Connected TV, which is basically video ads within regular connected TV. There are video ads on the digital videos across, which we are very active on. We've been working very well. There has been a significant growth, especially in the US, on the video ads which go into connected TV are delivered programmatically. We have already been doing that. We are definitely part of that ecosystem right now through our Brightcom. That was actually the name Brightcom platform. That was how we started the name Brightcom. So that has been very much part of it. We have a clear market share there. The business itself has been growing, and we are growing along with the business. We will try to start notching up on that. There are a few ideas on how to go about doing that, and the team is working on that. So I cannot tell anything beyond that for various competitive reasons, but there is significant effort there. You might see some quality of announcements we've been making from the operations side in Israel. Next question is with respect to digital audio. We did have an announcement that came out a few months ago about our interest to get more into digital audio. That is a new area and opportunity right now. It's like a wild west. There is a lot of interest and a lot of advertisers who are looking to get into it, and they don't have enough available publishers, and traffic is there, but they're not able to connect to the traffic. So there is clearly an opportunity. So we are out there. From a operations perspective, you might have seen a webinar that came out, and I hear it went very well with our publishers. So they're all looking at that as an option. Plus, we have also been working on another very base level to set the framework for further acquisitions in this digital audio. So we are looking at one such company, and it is again, in negotiations as we speak. And if there is some development there, we will surely inform the market through that. And now coming to the next question. Yeah, that's about it. That's the questions I had. I might have missed a few. Let me check. I think that's all I had. So can we now open up for questions, Bharati?
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and 1 again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. First question comes from Amitabh Ghosh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. First of all, congratulations on the good results.
Thank you.
And thanks for the array of notifications that Brightcom has been coming up with and updating the investor community.
Yes, sir.
In particular, the one thing that is very interesting is the inorganic growth. Can you please highlight BCG's acquisition plans and the potential of how many in the next year also?
Thank you. We're not trying to, do a count or anything like that. The core strategy in general, I don't want to go deeper into it. The core strategy in general is where would we like to be as a company, and what are the things that we can internally grow, and what are the things that we need to buy. It's a choice between buy versus build. That is the thought process. And as an example, this year, for example, we've made an announcement as well with respect to audio, which is the Brightcom audio. And like I said, it's a wild west. The opportunity is good. If we move quickly, we can establish ourselves as one of the leaders. And for us to start from scratch and build it and take it to a point may take a slightly longer time as opposed to bring in maybe 1, 2, 3 acquisitions very quickly so that we establish ourselves as a key leader there. So that is one definite area that we are looking at. And it doesn't matter how many, the count doesn't matter, but it should get few things. One is, in terms of the business that we are in, it is about 2 things. One is the reach, meaning how large is the network. 2 is the technology, meaning how efficiently can we run that. And each sub area within digital advertising has their own, variants of that. So hence we will look at technology players plus somebody who's got the reach. So our first acquisition would potentially be something that will lay the basic platform to start. And then we will start plopping in other companies that will give us the reach in digital audio. That is for sure. And then other areas like I talked about during the question and answer is with respect to our India business. Yes, we have some ideas on what to do there. And broadly, the company has worked this way. We have our front-end guys going out there, getting the business in terms of working with the end advertisers and publishers and bringing that to the table. And core platform is built there. And then the support and all the tech development in terms of backend is done from India. And that's how the company started, as I talked to you. So we are looking to do something there to really enhance and create a robust backend where the front-end guys don't even have to think twice when they start scaling up. So it's very critical that we think that is important as well. But it depends. It depends on how things play out, right? Not everything will go as per plan, but we do have a few ideas on what to do there. Other areas that we are thinking about are with respect to geography. What are the geographies we can get into? And connected TV, like one of the questions that popped up, is another area which, if we feel that we cannot build, we will look at a buy. So this is broadly the idea. You will probably see us back in form between 2006 and 10, like I talked about. But let us see how it plays out. A lot of things have to fall in place, and we are very positive about it.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Abhishek Manivasan from ABI Financial. Please go ahead. Next question comes from Mr. Abhishek. Please go ahead.
Am I audible now?
Yes, Mr. Abhishek. Welcome. Please go ahead with your
Congrats, Mr. Reddy, on the stupendous performance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Domestically, the digital media's performance is likely to be, the industry size is likely to be tripled by 2025.
Correct.
That's the industry analysis, right?
Yes.
What is our plan to take part in that? What is your stand on that?
Yes. It's been definitely a tough area for us to crack the domestic market. It's funny because while we were a back-end company and we found experts in dealing with different markets, domestic market has not been easy to crack given the fact that it is primarily dominated by advertising agencies and their own internal systems. Plus, some of the publishers themselves have been setting their own shop to do that. But things have changed now. So we used to be the exclusive advertising group for Microsoft in India. And we did that for a year. However, terms didn't work, so we moved on from there. So we understand to an extent. We are definitely trying to enhance that strength. So we have a few ideas right now. There may be a chance of an acquisition on that front as well, but I don't know yet. Right now, my team has to come back to me and tell me the choice between buy versus build on that. But definitely, like you said, it's a great market to be in, and ensure that we will not get into it unless the profitability makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to just get into the market for the sake of getting into it. So if the profitability is good, then definitely we'll start investing. So right now, it is at that critical point where it's just turning very positive. Good point, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Sunil K. Suren, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Reddy. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Hello.
Sunil ji. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. So it's been very nice. Our company is now debt-free. And I'm very glad to see that the markets are appropriately re-rating Brightcom.
Thank you, sir. And I'm thankful to the market.
From the announcement to the board, we are noticing lots of developments happening, which seems again exciting.
Yes,
At this juncture, I would like to rephrase the question which was asked 5 years ago to yourselves.
Okay.
That is, where will the famous J-curve growth come from in our portfolio?
Okay, sir. Yes. Yeah, we have been trying to find that J-curve for a while now. I think, it was, I said that. Yeah, definitely, I said that. Now, I think, if you look at, I'd like to digress a bit here and then we can come back to your question. If you look at broad market between India and China and within digital, in the last 10 years, right, as a GDP or whatever, China has grown multiple fold. A lot of the growth came from digital. If you go back and check whether it is, they call it the BAT, right? Whether it's the Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, and these have become massive trillion-dollar businesses. And they were not 10 years ago. And that is the same opportunity we as India have. I always believe that. We could be, if there are multinationals, I always have this argument with some of the people and they say, no, this is a multinational. But I said, no, there could be a multinational that could be based out of India and expand across the globe, plus have that kind of a growth. So that is a very core desire of mine to make Brightcom ride that J-curve. And where will it come from in our portfolio? Surely, I think it will come from all the digital expansion that is happening. Plus, it will come from the next generation technologies that are coming into play. Whether it is, broadly speaking, you can say AI, ML, but there are a lot of nuanced things that are happening within that space. And we have been very closely studying them and observing them. And we have a few ideas on what to do. And the J curve in terms of that explosive revenue growth, where there is no stopping, and free cash flow growth are critical. And we feel very strongly that it will happen to Brightcom, and it's hard to pinpoint when, but definitely I can tell you these are the areas where it will happen. Plus, we have primarily been more of an expert when we are working with other businesses as a B2B business. And usually the J curve has happened in the world on the B2 business to consumer as a B2C side. So we will get there. And I think it's a matter of walking our steps, doing baby steps, doing the right thing. So we've sobered up since that, since 5 years ago. And we have done a few things to clean up and, be a little more mature in how we approach. Thanks for bringing that to notice today.
Okay, thanks. Welcome, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Soundra Raju, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Mr. Soundra Raju.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? Welcome.
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm very good, sir. Tell me.
Okay. Although I have been in the market for a while, I am a new investor in Brightcom.
Okay.
I was doing some research and going through the history of the company. Interestingly, I noticed that company has changed the name from Vibrant Digital to Lycos Internet to Brightcom Group over the period of 10 years. Could you please let me know as to why this was necessary?
Yes. Yeah, I know this has been, people have been asking this. Yeah, I could have addressed it in my opening thing also. Yeah, it's a good question. Usually companies don't do name change unless there is a specific idea behind it. Nobody is trying to, because at the end of the day, you should reflect, your name should reflect what you stand for. So when we were Vibrant Digital, we were this a strong back-end, end-to-end digital marketing company, growing. And post the Lycos acquisition, the Lycos brand, actually when we went out and when we were trying to, open up new markets, whether it is in China, Taiwan, or anywhere in the world or any place in Europe, we would say we are Vibrant Digital and we also own Lycos, right? So the doors would open up and say, wow, Lycos, that's an old one. I have worked on it. This was my first email, which was with Lycos. So that brand recall was very powerful. So then we said, why don't we just name ourselves as Lycos? Because that has got a solid brand recall. And it makes it so much easier for our sales guys to go out there and develop business. So that was the reason why we changed from Vibrant Digital to Lycos. As a founder of Vibrant Digital, that was a difficult call for me, but I did it in the interest of the business because the brand Lycos, they had spent a lot more money and had a lot more brand recall. And then from there, yes, a lot of things happened. As some of you are aware, we came to a situation where we got into a legal issue with the Lycos subsidiary, and we didn't want this to be a hindrance. So hence we had to figure out what else is our most branded, best brand that we have within our portfolio of products. So then we said, let's move to Brightcom. That is the reason why we changed. So otherwise we would have kept it as Lycos all the way, but then along the way, by then, for example, Brightcom was our video platform, was rated #1 in the world in terms of trust index and had huge recall with respect to when you're doing the business-to-business sales calls. So then we said, let us name ourselves as Brightcom Group, and hence the name change. So these all have a very specific reason, and I don't think there will be any more name changes, touch wood, and I don't think it will be necessary because now the Brightcom name itself is gradually catching fire across the different customers that we have and publishers that we have.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your good results, quarterly results.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Danson D. Costa, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Hope you're doing good.
Yeah. Hi, Danson. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Hope you're doing good as well. And congrats for the numbers this time.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Everything good, sir.
Yeah. So I had one question, like as you said, we need more cash so that we can expand. So how will you continue going forward to retain more cash as BCG keeps on doing more and more acquisitions?
Yeah. It's a very good question, Danson. And I know Mr. YSR addressed that in his, I think this was a similar question also in one of the emails. We have thought about it. See, usually the tipping point, if you may, is at $450 million is where the free cash flow starts to flow into digital marketing companies, given the fact that we have to invest for product development and other things. And also with respect to our company, we had debt repayment and all those things blended in. We repaid close to 350 crores almost over a period of last 7-8 years. So now we should see a lot more free cash flow coming in. And then in terms of the new acquisition strategy, what we figured is all our acquisitions, we have done 100% acquisition. So we own them 100%. So initially we may do a little bit of fundraise at the parent level, but eventual game plan is to consolidate. I think, in fact, we talked about it in the past as well. We consolidate or at least pull a few of the large subsidiaries together, and then maybe raise funds through public or private equity into it, and eventually list it so that we don't have to dilute at the parent level, and that fund will be used for acquisition. So that is the broad strategy that we have, and we'll have to play it by the year as we go. But this is the general plan, and so that as we go forward, more and more cash accrues and maybe give us more dividends, and there's a growth momentum for the business. That's the game plan. Dan.
Okay. So as you said that the consolidation of the subsidiaries which is going to happen. So anytime soon, do we have any news or going to take some more time?
In terms of timeline, you mean?
Yeah, as in is it like in plan, right? You said the consolidation of the subsidiaries.
Yes. So the thing is, see, it all ties back, Danson, to how nicely we are valued. See, I don't want to sell ourselves short because the parent is not valued well. So we decided to shift our focus to get our parent valued right. So once it is valued right, everything will fall in place. We could do a line of credit for organic, and we could do a subsidiary dilution at a much higher valuation, and hence it will all fall in place. That is the reason. Yeah, that is the. It will happen. I'm pretty positive it will fall in place. Yeah.
All right. So thank you for that answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Next question comes from Dr. Supreme Prabhu, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Heartiest congratulations on a
Thank
good
you,
result.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I was wondering, when most of our sales, profits, etc., come from the US and the Israeli subsidiaries, then why not have an international listing like in the Nasdaq to improve our fair value and to reward the investors in India?
Absolutely, sir. That's exactly my previous answer. When I said we would like to raise funds at the subsidiary level, that was my point. That was exactly my point. But I don't want to list it at a point where the parent is not rightly valued. We are now trading at a multiple which is very low. So once we are trading at a decent multiple, definitely that is a very clear option we will go after.
Yeah, I'm sure that will happen because now people have started looking at Brightcom as a great company, and they've also started giving it the valuation and realize that it is fairly undervalued till now.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Exactly. You
got it. And I think we can still improve on it if we improve the investor relations. Constant correspondence will definitely help.
Yes, sir. Yes. We will. You will see the difference. Next question.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Sameer Joshi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Congrats for good set of numbers. My question, I have two questions. One is pertaining to what is
Sorry
the
to interrupt.
aging of
Sorry to interrupt. Sameer, sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
one moment. Now, can you hear?
Sir, it's still breaking, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, it's
Hello.
okay. We can go ahead. I'm able to understand.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
Yeah. Can you provide me aging of receivable as on 31st March? And with respect to continuation of earlier question, with respect to NASDAQ listing, what is the date or time when we expect it? See, because the reason is till the time it is not listed in NASDAQ, since you don't have PE funds or any mutual funds invested in this company, it won't have a greater PE as compared to current PE.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll repeat the question if it is not clear for everybody. I think the question says, I think Mr. Sorry, sir. What's your name? I missed the name again. So what's his question? Yes. His question
Sorry
was.
to interrupt, sir. Sameer, sir, line
Yeah.
got dropped.
Yeah.
Please go
What's
ahead,
his name? You said Samir, right?
sir. Sameer Joshi.
Samir Joshi. Yeah. His question, first question was aging with respect to what is the aging detail. I think Mr. YSR can address that. And the second question is what is the timeline? What is the game plan with respect to the NASDAQ listing? Looks like there is a lot of interest on the NASDAQ listing. And the third one, he said, we will, it's a chicken and egg thing. And he believes that, unless we do that, our multiple will not be as good. But his point saying that because we do not have any private equity investments, we've raised $100 million private equity. Sorry, it is not that we've not had private equity investors. So this company has gone through 4 levels of diligence already. So not to worry on that front. That said, what we felt right was to get it re-rated on the Indian market and then go into other markets for the sake of raising funds at the right valuation. That has been the strategy, and we are going after that. And YSR Garu, if you can kindly give the aging detail with respect to our receivables, please.
Oh, sure. The receivables as on 31st March 2021 on overall basis is 1,119 crores. Out of that, 937 crores is pertaining to digital marketing, and 181 crores is pertaining to the software. Compared to the previous year, there is a slight increase in the number of days. The reason being, due to the pandemic, our collections are little bit affected because of the movement of the people is restricted due to so many constraints, travel restrictions. However, going forward, we are confident that in the next 3-4 months, we will normalize the collection and receivables will come down to the previous level. That is briefly about the receivables.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have time for one more question, Bharati?
Thank you, sir. That would be the last question for the day.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being on the call, and welcome to the Brightcom family. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference for today. Thank you for your participation and for using Doorsabha's conference call service. You may disconnect your lines now. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.